when my business partners, Ed, Dedrick, and I, when we reopened the hospital, the main reason was Ed's mom had very severe rheumatoid arthritis, and the hospital had been treating autoimmune patients, for a long time. And then, of course, we've just tried to expand and come up with newer things that we also saw that worked with it.
I was very impressed coming here the first time, and obviously that's why I'm back the second time. All of your staff is so professional. Like, I've had the best level of care medically here than I do back home.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, I'm being real. I actually asked my specialist back home about like stem cells. She just didn't have a comment on it.
CPI podcast, guys, welcome back. I got Eddie Nghiem here with me this time. Eddie, this is a kind of a different interview. Most of the people that I come in here, they got a messed up joint or something like that going on. But your story is a lot more interesting. If I understand correctly, healthy guy, devil dog. You're a police officer, right?
Yeah, as well.
And well, fill us in. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Hey guys. Oh, thanks for having me. First, Scotty. What you're doing here, what everyone's doing here, is quite amazing. I found out about you guys actually through a buddy of mine. He came down here in 2021 for his lower lumbar, and he was in his mid-40s, and I trained jiu-jitsu with him, and he just told me about you guys and how you guys have helped him so greatly with his lower lumbar. I guess he came here, had 3 ruptured discs, and he's back to rolling, and he's like, dude, I feel like I'm in my 20s, no pain. And he just asked me, he's like, have you ever considered this? And I didn't, because I knew about you guys. I knew about what you guys were doing down here, but I didn't necessarily know anything about your autoimmune protocol. I didn't know that this could be something for autoimmune. Then I went on your guys' website, and then you guys literally had an autoimmune protocol. I was like, oh shoot, this is interesting. And then I started diving down the rabbit hole of research through Google and all these other sources. And it seemed like something I wanted to try, something I wanted to do. And a little bit about myself. So I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called CIDP. It's short for chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. So basically my immune system attacks my peripheral nervous system. And what that does is it controls my motor functions. So around May of 2022, I started losing dexterity, losing grip strength. My neck has always been hurting. So I was like, maybe it's pinched nerve or something. Went to go get that checked out, and it was just 1 to 2 mil protrusions, none of it touching my nerves, none of it making sense. So the doctors thought I was crazy, running through all these MRIs, all these tests. No one knew what was wrong with me. People were like, it's fine, you're okay. Fast forward to Christmas Day of 2022, and mind you, I noticed I was constantly getting weaker. What went with my dexterity went to my legs. My legs were getting wobbly. Everything else was getting weak. There was times I'd walk downstairs and I'd fall because just my legs were just buckle and give out. It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? Kept going back to the doctors, and really they didn't have an answer for me. Fast forward to Christmas of 2022, I woke up damn near paralyzed. Couldn't even lift my arms up. I was just spasming, shaking. Went to the ER, ran they did the EMG test on me to test my nerves, and they figured out a damage to my myelin sheath. So they diagnosed me with CIDP, and then I was on this medication called immunoglobulin, IVIG.
Yep.
And so they're doing IVIG on me. I was in the hospital for 5 days, and I bounced back up, felt good. I was like, oh, sick. That's awesome. And I thought IVIG was the cure. I was like, this one-time deal, but I kept getting flare-ups every month. And all the way up into when I saw you guys 3 months ago when I first came here. But so 6 months ago, even the IVIG stopped working for me for some reason. I did a round of IVIG, stopped working. My wife was helping me get dressed, couldn't put my socks on, couldn't open a water bottle. Really put me down like the rabbit hole of just like my mindset. I was losing it. You know, I've always been an active person. Like grew up doing combat sports, went to the Marine Corps when I was 18, got out of there after 5 years, and I've been a cop for almost 10 years on the SWAT team. So not being able to dress myself, not being able to do simple things, not being able to be active, do jujitsu or anything, it was a trip. It was tough. Like there's times I'd lose myself just screaming in my room by myself because I'm so upset that I just can't walk normally, can't do normal things. But yeah, I came to you guys 3 months ago as like my last hope, you know, because the doctors wanted to add prednisone to my, you know, list of medication. I've heard so many horror stories about prednisone. I've had friends be on prednisone and they developed like other issues like diabetes. The doctors in the States didn't really, you know, I started inquiring more like, hey, is it my diet? Like, I think my diet's good, but could it be my diet? Had to like dive down the rabbit hole of research through that. So now I'm like doing an animal-based protocol, you know, organics, fruits, veggies, grass-fed meats, pasture-raised, no seed oils, all that stuff in combination with, you know, coming down and getting treatment through you all down here. I think I've really felt an improvement. When I left you guys 3 months ago, I was feeling good. Even like, I would say like a week or two after, usually around the 5-week mark, you know, after IVIG and all that, I started to go downhill again. Like my strength starts to decrease, my extremities go, my dexterity goes. But 5 weeks post treatment with you guys, I felt good, felt fine. I was like, man, I don't need to do IVIG. Obviously, the doctors are, you know, wanting me to keep that up, just, you know, just for now, until we see how things work. But I didn't feel like I needed it. I just, you know, I felt like, and then, you know, the only thing different was, you know, I went to you guys and then changed my diet a little bit. But I think coming here was, you know, I'm obviously back here today for a reason, because I felt the improvement. So actually I lasted about almost 3 months. Like 2 weeks ago, I started feeling a little weak again, but nowhere near as severe as it was. So, you know, I'm equating that to coming here, like prolonging my symptoms. And then when symptoms came back, wasn't as severe, and I bounced back pretty fast. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm equating to.
Autoimmune is a really tricky one.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes they don't know, like, do they have any idea why yours triggered or why it started?
No.
That's common for a lot of patients. People that get put in the same autoimmune box have completely different symptoms. And, you know, it's always kind of a try it and see. It's different than treating a joint or something like that, where it's usually always one and done, you know, for most people. But, you know, we have to make modifications. Are you doing like 2 other returns, or are you doing, so it's like 3 parts. And, you know, sometimes people get a big giant effect on the first one, not the second one, and then maybe on the third one. Maybe it's not till the third one that they see an effect. So it's really just a trial and error. You know, stem cells in general is very new. We have the latest technology of stem cells, and there's just not a lot of people that have been, you know, treated with it, which is, of course, why we always want to collect as much data as possible for people. So, you know, it's great to hear that things are going in the right direction. So, all right, so it sounds kind of like, are you doing like the autoimmune AIP diet? Is that the diet that you're doing? Have you seen that one?
AIP, no.
AIP, I think so. Paleo was a friend of mine, Rob Wolf, started that. And then there's this woman, I'm not sure who started, but there's a woman whose name is the Paleo Mom, and she's really big in it. And it's a version of the paleo diet for autoimmune. And I had an ex-girlfriend that had an autoimmune issue, and it's about finding which foods cause the flare-ups. So for my ex, it was like nightshades, tomatoes, peppers, things like that. So we had to be very careful when we went out to eat. Like, are you sure there's no tomatoes in there? Not just a little bit here or there, because that could cause a flare-up for her sometimes right away, within a couple of days. So, diet seems to be a really big factor for people with, at least what I've seen in autoimmune. When my business partners, Ed, Dedrick, and I, when we reopened the hospital, the main reason was Ed's mom had autoimmune, rheumatoid arthritis, very severe rheumatoid arthritis. And the hospital had been treating autoimmune patients, for a long time before we came back in. So, there were some old protocols around diet and detox and stuff that they were using. And then, of course, we've just tried to expand and come up with newer things that we also saw that worked with it. But it's trial and error, what I mean? So,
I mean, it really is. I mean, and you guys, you don't know until you try it. And, you guys are on top of, trying new things, seeing if it works. And that's pretty great. More advanced than what some other places are doing right now.
We want it to work for everybody, but nothing works for everybody.
Yeah.
But we're willing for tough cases like yourself and other people where they just don't have it, okay, well, we give up. We tried everything we have, we give up. That's what happened to Ed's mom.
Yeah.
And also, just like you, I hear a lot from patients that, like, at first the doctors are just skeptical. They don't believe in the patient.
Yeah. I mean, I actually asked my specialist back home about like stem cells. She just didn't have a comment on it. She just didn't really know too much about it. No comment on it. I had a lot of like kickback, like a lot of like friends and like family telling me, why are you going down here? What are you doing? But I just trusted you guys. I believed, in you guys. All of your staff is so professional. Like, coming here, I'm so impressed. I would say like the level of care. I mean, I've had the best level of care medically here than I do back home.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, I'm being real. I was very impressed coming here the first time, and obviously that's why I'm back the second time. And yeah, I just appreciate what all you guys do here. Especially like I was at a pretty low point, pretty desperate. This was like me coming like for help, like screaming for help. I was fortunate enough to come here. Although I had like friends that like, didn't want me to come here because they were scared. I also had a lot of friends that supported me. I was willing to like take a loan to come out here. It didn't matter because you can't really put a price on health. Sure. I don't think so. We buy so much stupid things as it is in the world, a car or like a house, but like, you can't have that. You're not going to enjoy that if you don't have a healthy life. But I was also like fortunate enough to have so many people support me coming here, like through a GoFundMe, and it was pretty amazing. And I'm super thankful to be here today,
That's
speaking
great.
to you guys and everything.
You must be a good friend. You must have touched a lot of people's lives that they came out and supported you. Yeah, I appreciate your service. I appreciate you being a police officer. I mean, I have a lot of police officer friends. It's not easy being a police officer these days.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely seem like they're getting dumped on and the short end of the stick in some places.
It's fine. I mean, that's always since I started my career. It's always been kind of like that.
Yeah, they don't like you until they need you.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's whatever. You're not gonna win the hearts of everybody, and that's cool. But I just take it one step at a time, one case at a time, and I think I think once you start talking to me, things shift. It's like,
Sure.
you realize that, I'm just like you. I'm pretty chill. I'm a pretty chill guy. So, I usually get along with people pretty well. So it's not bad.
So were your friends more worried about you trying something that wasn't in the medical system in the US, or were they worried that you're coming down here to TJ?
Both.
Both, yeah.
For sure. For them, they're like, well, it's not approved in the States. The States were so cutting edge.
Which
if it's,
we're not.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Like if it's not approved here in the States, that's for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go down there to do it? But again, I don't think they even realize that, that you just have to keep an open mind. Just like with everything else in life, you have to keep an open mind. Just because we're doing something now doesn't mean there's not something else out there. There's this quote that I heard, I forgot who it was from, but he said life was about intelligent adaptations, and that's pretty huge. Yeah. If you look at 100 years ago, technology, medical advancements, etc., to now, huge. So what makes you think that we're at our peak? There must be more. And, you have scientists here and you have, so many great doctors here looking for that advancement. And so they were scared and they were skeptical, and they thought, what if, especially, they knew of like certain stories about, getting your knee done, your shoulder done, your back done, but they were more scared. Oh, well, it's autoimmune. What if the cells replicate, issues that would keep attacking you? Like, what if that strengthens that? But, I did some research through like in vitro studies, different studies out there. And I'm like, yeah, but there are so many benefits to it that I'm willing to take this risk. I mean, I either keep declining or I try something new that's going to make me better, potentially better or whatever.
Maybe it does nothing.
Or maybe it does nothing, right?
Yeah.
But I only got one shot in this world, so I got to try it, and I'm glad I did.
If you don't swing, you won't get a home run, right?
Yeah.
You can strike out too, but yeah, at least you got to at least try with it. And yeah, I agree with you too. Like Tijuana is like so much medical tourism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people really understand how many gringos come down here for the level of service.
Yeah.
Like, I've been going to the dentist here for 9 years.
Yeah.
And like, there's no reason for me to go to the dentist back home.
Yeah.
It's better service.
Mm-hmm.
It's 20% less than it is cost wise, 80%. I pay like 20% of what I would pay in the US. I remember I had some mercury fillings that I wanted to get taken out. One of them felt like it was at least to me, it felt like it's getting a little loose. And,
Yeah.
I know that's like the cheap way, but it's not the healthy way. Just even like insurance wouldn't cover it in the US, finding a doctor that would take them out properly, put new ones in, like it was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, found a dentist down here. Yep, sure. We do it all the time for Americans. Come in, shout out doctors.
Yeah.
Doctora Santana. And, since then I know so many of my friends that have come. I've referred a lot of people down to her to get their dental work, but just, like anywhere, there's going to be some shady stuff for sure. But there's also some awesome stuff here. People, just give it a bad name. I always say to people too, like, hey, go to my website, look at my scientific advisory board. Look at the level of scientists that are on there. And then you go to your hospital you're going to in the US and see if they even have a scientific advisory board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's not to bag on the US hospitals, to bag on the doctors. Like your doctor, like she's like, I don't really know much about it. Well, she was never really taught about it. So unless she has a personal interest outside of what she learned in medical school, how would she learn about it?
Exactly.
But that's one thing, our team of doctors, then they'll always bring us new stuff. They love to research and stuff, and they know that we're open. They know that we'll invest in them learning new things and going to seminars and getting trained and stuff. And then we have these scientists that are like on the cutting edge, bringing us new ideas. How can we make this better? We share all the data with them. I think that's one thing that really sets us apart from anybody else is how much data collection we do. I have 15 patients back this week, not counting you, you're back for treatment as part of your protocol, that we're just collecting data. Yeah. And we're going to publish it, put it out there. And it's all about, okay, it's easy to say this is what's going good, but there are people that it doesn't work out great for.
Yeah.
For those people, how do we continue to help them and fix it, change it, modify it so it does work better for the next person? And I think that's, that's what's missing in a lot of the healthcare that we have now. It's more like, hey, come in, here's the menu of what I could treat you with. Even with my back surgery, which didn't really work, within 5 years afterwards, I was in more pain than I was before my surgery. And going back to my surgeon, going back to my doctor, I never had a conversation about like why they thought it didn't work. It was just like, okay, you need a fusion. Let's get you scheduled for a fusion. I'm like, I'm trying to fuse 3 vertebrae in my back. Like, wait a minute, like there's no other option, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
So, and I don't think it's their fault, it's just, that's the way the system is. They have to work in the system. They have to make a living. Just like as a police officer, you might have to enforce something you don't agree with, but that's the system. That's how it is. And they have to work into it. I'm grateful for Mexico because we get to adapt and do things a lot more differently.
I was super impressed because you guys actually, when I came down here the first time, you guys got another second opinion and you guys took me to another hospital, separate doctor, separate from you guys, to get a second opinion about even beginning stem cells with me. And I was super impressed by that. It definitely like solidified that I made the right decision and I'm at a place that actually cares about my health and others' health. By that simple gesture alone, then that impressed me. Because like same thing, like when we're talking about in the States with like, I've been to 3 different specialists. But the demeanor is the same. It seems like there's no conversation. Like here, like I'm able to speak to a doctor. They explain things to me. I'm able to understand things. I feel connected. But back home, it was just didn't really have any answers for me. Didn't seem very interested. Wasn't really communicative about things with my health. So I definitely noticed that here, which is pretty amazing.
I think back in the States, it's not that the doctors don't want to be that way. It's just the system's not really set up that way.
Yeah.
We keep our patient to doctor count super low because we want people to get as much time as they need. I'm a little cramped right now since the hospital's being remodeled and I'm limited on office space. Getting real close to moving back into the remodeled hospital. And that crosses over from cancer. It's a big step for somebody to bring their loved one down to TJ for cancer treatment. Most people, it's because they just completely run out of options. What we do in cancer is so much of it is like old school alternative, but other parts of it are super cutting edge, genetic testing, cellular therapies, customized vaccines that we've taught the doctors that, hey, usually more than just the patient, the family, the loved one, whoever got them there, you need to sit with them and make sure they understand everything. We have to set a lot of expectations. I come in and talk to you guys every Tuesday. I try to set a lot of expectations there. Cancer patients are listen a little bit better, a little more on the line than stem cell patients. Some of them I just put to sleep. We had a lady was sleeping yesterday while I was answering questions. That's okay. But with cancer, especially because our cancer patients, usually about the end of the first week, first 10 days, they appear to be a lot sicker than they were when they came. And that's part of the purging, the detoxing, rebooting the immune system. And the loved ones have to be aware of it. Like we have to make sure they know, hey, come day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this person's going to appear to be really sick and they might seem really sick. But after that, that's when things start taking off. And that's especially people that had done a lot of chemo or radiation that they needed to get detox out of them. So the fact that my doctors have worked with patients that are in real life or death situations, I think they're very open-minded. But they've learned the importance of the patient understanding, feeling comfortable with what's going on, knowing that they can question at any time what's going on, and getting honest answers. And, we empower the doctors. Say, if you don't know, just say, we don't know, but we'll try.
Yeah.
Or we don't know if this is going to work and we don't think it's a good idea, so let's not do it.
Yeah.
And they don't have that pressure on them, like you have to have an answer for this person today or at all. And we sometimes with stem cell patients, they get here and we find something in their health that we don't think this is the right time for them to get treated. Happened this week. And we'll just sit them down, explain to them everything, why, the reasonings, and tell them, hey, this is what we think we need you to do before you do get treated to have the best results and to be healthy. And you can come back then. And I think that's why those people even leave happy. They know that they're just not a number. Like, I give full refund, like, oh, they're not just trying to take my money, and it is a lot of money. Let's face it, it is a lot of money. I think, like you said, when you compare it, somebody told me, one of the patients one time told me, it's not a lot of money. The average American spends $55,000 on a car.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere near that.
Yeah.
So is it really? Like, what's more important? Being alive and being healthy or having a nice car?
Yeah.
So when you put it in perspective, it's still a lot of money, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective.
Sure.
And, you can't put money in your health. I'll spend $1 million for my health. Who cares?
One shot, right? That's one shot. All we get here. It'd be nice. Make it more affordable. Long-term goal is FDA approval, so you can just go to your local orthopedic and get an injection right there.
Yeah.
Have insurance pay for it. And, this deal with the partnership with the UFC to be their official stem cell provider.
That's huge.
It's awesome. They did a lot of, people, how do I know you're not a scam? Oh, well, the UFC is an $11 billion company. If you don't think those guys didn't look into us when it comes to taking care of their talent, you're crazy.
Exactly.
You are crazy. So it's been good. And TJ is not what people think it is.
No, it's not.
I think there's just narcos running around everywhere. It's a bunch of nice, really cool people that a lot of them speak perfect English.
Yeah. The first time I came to Mexico was when I came here to see you guys 3 months ago. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, everyone here is nice.
And the food's
everyone's
awesome.
Good. Food's great. Yeah.
Food's awesome. I mean, right, you stay in a Hyatt. It's a Hyatt. How bad could it be? Put a Hyatt in the dump.
Yeah.
He's like, walk across the street, you got 5, 6, 7, 8 amazing restaurants, better than anything in San Diego.
Yeah.
Every one of them is better than any restaurant in San Diego. So it's interesting how we let the propaganda in the news and everything, get in people's heads. I had a guy cancel his treatment this week because of the 3 surfer guys that got in trouble somewhere down south of here, ended up dead. People are getting murdered down there. I'm like, no, bro, you're from Miami. You don't think 3 people were murdered in Miami in the last month?
Yeah.
Wake up, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not, first of all, it wasn't even anywhere close to here. So.
Yeah, it's not on the news all the time, but it happens all the time in the States as well.
Of course, yeah. Chicago.
You're sheltered to it because you don't hear about it, but it still exists.
It's everywhere.
But I think, you just got to keep that open mind and just make it happen. And you'll be surprised if, that's what I did.
Yep.
I was fearful. Oh no, I'm going to Mexico. I'm trying something new. But I just did it, and best decision in my life.
So where do you feel like you're at, like right now? You said you're everything was going great. A couple weeks before, you started to feel a downturn. Like, where do you feel like you're at now with your healing process?
Right now, I'm good. So when I started going downhill like a couple weeks ago, like I said, it wasn't as severe. Did my IVIG, the immunoglobulin, and I'm back coasting, normal now, feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
But still keeping up with you guys here, because I think that was a main factor. Mm-hmm. And hopefully the more I come over the years, maybe this thing will go away just like it came.
We kick it in the butt. You don't have to keep coming back every year. So what are you doing for treatment this time when you're down here? IV or?
This time I'm doing 180 million through IV.
IV, that's good.
Last time I did 150 million. Same with the other protocols that you guys are implementing. All the other IVs you guys are giving me, the hyperbaric chamber, and then the enema.
They check your immune markers and stuff first time, second time they're here?
I know that the doctor reviewed a lot with me. I can't recall.
Usually I know they check all the immune markers and everything.
It's a bunch of medical jargon.
Yeah.
But he said that the markers seem better this time than it was last time.
That's good.
There's like some improvements. So he was like, oh wow, like that's a good improvement from last time. So yeah.
Maybe it's a combination therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's another thing. It's hard to test combination therapies in America. They want to find the one silver bullet, the one patentable silver bullet. It was all this,
Yeah. When
in a lot of cases, it takes multiple things.
Yeah. And it's like what you're saying, like yesterday, right? And about, this is one aspect, but you guys might need PT later to really, send it home to make it better. Same thing. It's I think it's a combination of this and then the other lifestyle changes that everyone needs to make if you really want to have that like healthy lifestyle or make that dramatic change. It's a combination of everything, and it all falls in line together.
It's I see it with low back people, guys that are probably like your buddies, jiu-jitsu guys, probably in good shape, but people come down, they have low back issues, and I get it. I had low back issues. I put on a lot of weight. After my surgery, I put on like 35 pounds because I went from training at least twice a day, maybe 3 times a day, 7 days a week, to laying on my back for 8 months, and my mom coming and feeding me terrible Southern fried chicken, mashed potatoes, okra, black-eyed peas.
Sounds good.
It's delicious, but I'm like, Mom, I can't eat like this. I'm getting so fat. And that was actually one of the things, afterwards I was like, hey, how am I going to get this weight off? And that's something that with some of our patients that are overweight, I tell them, I say, listen, once your knees get better, once your back gets better, you need to lose this weight. You need to work on your overall body health. Like, just because your knees are feeling better and the stem cells worked, and you don't have this pain doesn't mean just stay on the couch. That extra weight's going to make a difference. That's not going to prolong your back feeling better, your knees feeling better. Half your body weight's push it on your S1, L5. Well, if you could get 20 pounds off of that, that's a lot less pressure on your disc. And some people listen. Some do. Some want it. Other people, just Americans, they just want the shot and think should be better in a couple of days. Tissue don't grow in a couple of days.
No. So I was speaking to one of the other patients earlier today. Same thing. Like we had that same conversation. It's like we came here for a reason. We came here to get better. Whatever our issues are that we came here with. So stay true to that and multiply it, like do that with everything else in combination. And so I believe in that for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I think most patients do. Some patients, I've been doing this long enough now, I can kind of look around the room and see who's doing what, and like, oh, okay. I get surprised still.
Yeah.
I get surprised still. But I can see sometimes I'm like, oh, this person just looking for a miracle. Wants to put no effort into it whatsoever.
You got to put effort.
Like you're not gonna, if your shoulder's completely out of alignment, I could regrow your whole rotator cuff. But if you're still sleeping on your side and giving yourself an impingement, and you're not doing any physical therapy, your pain's going nowhere, buddy. Like it takes some effort on your side. Well, listen, I look forward to you coming back, man. So back in 3 more months, right? That'll be the third one, the last time, and all those markers looking better, and keep in touch, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, brother. Appreciate it.
Glad you took the risk, and I'm glad it's working.
Thank you. Me too.